What are you allowing into your body, mind, energy, or life? What if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is called The Simple Spiritual Guide to Clean Living. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of this little cover here. Practices for healing, growth, and transformation. Huge shout out to Anne Marie Tosse, the beautiful woman on the cover here. She is our lead author of this book. And Anne Marie, I have so much gratitude for you. You had a big vision and mission for this book. This is a big topic. And you guys are going to start to hear in our conversations today little bits about how all of our expert authors think about clean living. But a thank you to you for gathering this stellar group of experts together. I got a shout out to our cover designer too, KJ Kashula. Our own Kelly did this cover. So I love to collaborate with our designers and everyone that we collaborate with. So I've got some pretty cool people here with me today. Grace Cohn is an autism advocate and playwright connecting children to nature, music, and drama. And Lucia Jacob is here. She's a founder of Linking Awareness Adventures Incorporated. She's an international facilitator of consciousness-based energy medicine and nonverbal communication with all sentient life. Keisha Pinnock is here. She's a holistic wellness practitioner, spiritual teacher, and best-selling author who helps women return to wholeness through sacred feminine embodiment, plant-based wellness, and spiritual renewal. Welcome, ladies. Keisha, I'm actually going to start this party with you. We're going to hit you with the why question, like why this chapter? What is the why behind it for you?
Well, thank you so much, Laura. So when I decided to join this book and I saw the title, right? Simple Spiritual Guide to Clean Living, I think a lot about cleanliness, right? Cleanliness naturally assumes that there has to be some debris there that needs to be removed. And while we think about it from the perspective mainly of maybe from eating, I think about it from a more holistic perspective. And so when I decided to do my chapter, chapter 11, actually, the cost of becoming, when your success is rooted in wounds, not wholeness, what I really wanted to do was to provide sort of a practical application to women and to individuals about tapping into that emotional debris, that mental debris, those scars that drive our success but aren't necessarily outwardly shown, but are inwardly accessible.
And such an important landscape to discover, right? And to explore and figure out. Um, do you remember a moment where, like, I think I'm remembering my own. That's why I want to ask you this. It's like the debris got to a point, right? That it was like a turning point. Do you remember that for you? Like what was happening in your life?
Right. So I can remember the year. I can remember the moment I was a senior vice president for a Fortune 500 company. And I always say that the universe actually gives us little clues, right? Sometimes it taps us on the shoulder, sometimes it shakes us, and sometimes it literally punches you in the face because it needs you to wake up. And I had the title, had the salary, but there was just still this missing void that I couldn't quite identify. I knew it wasn't about the money because I had that, but there was something that was deeper. And so it actually happened coincidentally. I got calls by HR as senior vice president of compliance, being asked about taking a huge salary cut as well as changing the direction of my profession. And I was just like, you know what, this is it. It's time to explore. And I am so grateful that that led me on a whole spiritual journey. It also led to my own divulgence into the plant-based lifestyle. And so life has a way of providing that catalyst that we need for change, whether we do it reluctantly or we go through willingly. My hope is that as women read this book, it will invite them to do this willingly.
If we drop a little bit of the resistance, we may skate through faster. I don't know.
Yeah, just a little, just a little.
Maybe. Well, we have a lot more to ask you about your beautiful chapter in just a few minutes, but thank you for saying yes to this and for being here today.
Thank you.
Grace, tell us the why behind your chapter.
Thank you again, Laura. It's wonderful to be here with everybody. The why behind my chapter. So, my chapter is chapter 4, and it's called Burned But Not Broken After the Wildfire. And to be honest, when I was invited to be part of this book, because we lost not just one home in the Jasper wildfire 2 years ago, we lost two homes. And the second home was my daughter's home, which she has autism. And it was just an amazing L'Arche. If people are familiar with L'Arche homes, we had typical and atypical people living together, and we were right beside her. So if there was ever some big emergency, we were right there. So it was just humming along like a beautiful beehive. And then unfortunately, we lost both homes. So when I was first approached, I was like, oh my God, no. I have so, I'm like going crazy. I got a million things to do. And then this little, voice that we all have said, you know what? You really need to write about this. And so why? It was, I would say there's a couple of reasons. One, for people certainly who are going to go through this experience. And unfortunately, we're hearing of more and more fires all over the world, actually. And so this is a real thing now, but not just fires. There's tornadoes, there's floods. People are losing lives, people are losing children, um, so many traumas, right, that are going on. And so I really wanted to also share some ideas on how to go through this because it's been 2 years already and we're still not completely through it, but some really beautiful things have happened. And to the point where sometimes you really wonder, like, thank you, fire. It's hard to say, but really there's some truth to that. And so that's really my why, is to just be a source of inspiration and hope that even though you might lose everything, and we had terrible insurance, unfortunately, on my daughter's home. So it's not like it's just going to be replaced. No, like there's a lot of decision making going on here. But definitely some miracles have happened along the way. So that's my why.
I'm sure you don't get to the gratitude immediately, but you all, I love playing in the sandbox with my brave healers because you all have a foundation of awareness. And when you've been practicing that, you can get to gratitude a lot faster maybe than 10 years ago, 15, whatever. What do you want to say about that?
Well, I think the practice is very important. I'm with you on that, Laura, because I'll just tell you, like, I had a gig planned. I do work with children, as you mentioned in my bio, and I had a gig planned like shortly after this fire. Like it was already set in stone. There was people coming. It was at an eco sanctuary, and it was called Train the Trainers. And so this is like training people who actually work with children. So I was really pro doing this. And so after the fire, I was like, you know what? I'm going. Like, no, now you're going to burn my house down. It was almost like that. It was like, there's been so many challenges with this work along the way where it was just like, oh, now you're going to burn my house down. Okay, well, I'm going. So there was still this commitment to my overall goal, which I've been nurturing for years. So it's not something that happens overnight. It is a practice. It is almost like a faith of sometimes with what you're doing, is this really going to pay off in the long run? But people really were blown away that I showed up and still was able to carry through the program. And
Mm.
of course, I cried, like I would wake up super early and go for big walks and just bawl my eyes out. And then I was ready to go. So Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that part with us. That's real. And how amazing that you're able to say, no, I'm going and I'm just going to be my regular, authentic self there, whether it's grief I'm moving through or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, thank you, Grace. Thank you for being here, for saying yes to this.
Thank you.
Lucia, would you help us a little bit understand your why for the chapter?
Well, first of all, I can't not honor our previous speaker just now. I pulled one of my daughter's wild cards as kind of a theme, and the card that I pulled was this card.
Is it, I
Well,
can't
it's
forget.
sideways.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, that's hard to see. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
And
there we
I
go.
really
Now I
want
can see
to
it.
I really want to read this because I think it pertains to our inner selves for sure. The cosmic flame, catalyst, passion, renewal. The cosmic flame blazes within you, serving as a powerful catalyst for change and renewal. Embrace the intensity of your passion as it propels you towards your ultimate goals. Like the fire that rejuvenates the forest, allow the dynamic energy to incinerate the outdated and illuminated new paths for growth. Your inner fire is not just a source of strength, it is the spark that activates profound transformation and brings your aspirations to life. I harness the fire energy of the cosmic flame, allowing passion to fuel my evolution. As the powerful catalyst purifies, it clears the way for new beginnings, empowering me to manifest my full potential. Hurrah!
We like that fire card.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Chapter 8, Exploring the Inner Alchemist, a journey through perception, awakening, and embodied consciousness is something that is a part of my 3,000 words in writing.
Awesome. What do you want to tell us about how you came to writing that particular story you chose?
Well, first of all, I do travel the world and I'm a storyteller. It's about verbal, it's about activations and codes, and it's about the frequency that comes through the voice. So I travel jungles and cities and tell stories, profound stories. So you can only imagine the resistance I had to writing something is beyond. And thank you, Laura, for hosting this, but also, thank you, Anne Marie, for being my bookkeeper, like before the accountant kind of bookkeeper. And we had a discussion about this book, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't write. I can't possibly write into like these kind of words what I speak and what could come through the frequency of the heart brain. And so I said no for a long time. And we were having a discussion one day, and some things came up and worked through some resistances. I said, okay, here's, and I'm gonna try and write something. And a few days later, I was traveling in my truck, my mobile office, and I just had this epiphany. Oh my goodness, Anne Marie is my bookkeeper, the keeper of a book. And I realize, on one level, people say, well, it's only 3,000 words. But I think that maybe a lot of people don't realize the healing and the shift that goes on through us as we try and write something in these English words, because I'm a spellcaster with words, and I know that the frequency of written words can interfere with us too. So it's been a bit of a journey for sure. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for finally saying yes
Oh.
and agreeing to that. To all three of you, I have a big thank you. You took the challenge and you said yes, and you put your vulnerable real story in that book, and then in our practice section in the chapters, your master teachings are there, the way that you present an experience for the reader. And I thank you for doing that. It's quite a thing to do it every day as you teach clients and the things you do, but it's quite another thing to get it in black and white in a book. And Lucia talked about that so brilliantly. Sometimes you don't even realize the journey you're in for when you are tasked to write it down and figure that out. So I greatly appreciate all of you for that. Um, so clean living. This means a lot of things to a lot of people. Grace, what does it mean to you?
Clean living means very much like the title, simple. going back to simplicity, really connecting with nature, being in nature, really in gratitude for nature. You asked me earlier about gratitude. You know, we play a grateful game every single day with my autistic daughter, and we are masters of gratitude now. Like I've tested other people with that and said, "What are you grateful for?" And they're like, they really have to think about it. We have like 10,000 things: birds, apples, water, trees, the sun, the earth. You know, it's just because we've been practicing it so much. And it's so simple. You can do it anywhere. You can do it outside. You can do it in a lineup. You can do it in your vehicle. You can do it anywhere on an airplane, etc. So, yeah, for me, clean living is obviously where knowing where my food is coming from, my water, relationships. I don't want to take them all up, but that's
Right. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different things, but I love the way that you kick that off. I'm going to, the gratitude game, just making it a game where you have fun about, I'm with you. I can see 100 things in front of me right now, right? You three are three of them, right? And so like it's always in front of you all the time.
Yeah.
All right, Lucia, how about you? What does clean living mean to you in your personal life?
Knowing there's nothing separate, everything is a field of oneness, and that energy field is alive in every single sentient being, nature, quantum field that we are a part of. And I'm very ceremonial, so every day there's forms of ceremony. The plants are a big part of my ceremony to keep my system clean. As much organic food. I'm very fortunate because I live in the forest, so I agree with you. Nature is the state of oneness that never forgot. You know, when I was with the Zen Buddhist monks, they call it nature mind. And so choosing where I live, keep good company. The company you keep is part of your field. Belief systems create reality. So check your belief systems. If you have lower frequency belief systems, find something or a modality that shifts that from you. And I think, the dolphins would suggest that the quantum love gene is the healer of all.
I love that. You guys might need to pause this recording and rewind and hear that again about the dolphins. That's awesome. Say it again. The love
The
gene. Say that.
dolphins, yeah, the dolphins talk about the quantum love gene,
The
that this
quantum
divine
love
love
gene.
of oneness or quantum
Yes.
field or whatever word you like to use is the great healer. So therefore, exploring the inner alchemist is this divine love that emanates around us in our biofield and through us through the heart brain. And the more that we let go of this mind and this left right brain conflict, and we take this journey like we do in Lincoln Awareness Journey to the heart brain, all of a sudden, this concept that the dolphins tell us about starts to emanate in our life, and we start to live our life like that.
Beautiful, Lucia.
love it, love
I
it.
love it. You guys, we don't mess around with like small potatoes things around here. These are like the big questions of life. Okay. Keisha, your turn on this one. What does this mean to you? We've talked about plant-based living and the gals have talked about lots of these other ways. I know you have lots of thoughts about this too. What are they?
So I think clean living for me is about energetic consciousness, right? It is being very mindful of the energy that I receive from my environment, the mindfulness about what I think, because my thoughts create my reality. Being mindful, I also go back to plant medicine, the connection to Mother Earth, and recognizing her healing abilities and how that resonates within myself on a day-to-day basis. It's in my conversations, right? It is in the way I look at my own spirituality, and even with the things that I do, my actions, how they resonate and impact others. So I am so very much mindful and of that universal consciousness, right? That we are connected to each other. And even here, as we're having these conversations, there is that sort of invisible line that connects us. There is even the things that we do. You can see the similarities with the way that we approach life. So we may look different, but there is such a deeper resonance that I believe that connects us all. And so that's my focus. That's my clean living, is finding ways to embrace the similarities that exist with us as beings, not just as human doing, but as human beings.
Mm, thank you for that. So I want to head into asking you all a little bit more about your practices. And you guys, I don't often do this, but I actually have a chapter in this book as well. And so I
Mm,
don't want to forget, like, I wrote chapter 14. It's Empowered Mindset Mastery. And I think the one thing I want you all to know about this is like everything is awareness. And
mhm,
so your life can change with the awareness and the pause, and then you get to choose from there. And that is a big deal to me. I committed my studies to figuring out what that even meant. Like, how could I be in my body and feel these things? How could I pause and
mhm.
slow down and have the awareness? So, enjoy Empowered Mindset Mastery. I have a really cool scene about my car in this chapter that I love. I love writing, you guys. And so, like, if I have a topic that I love to write about, I get all jazzed up about that. So, this one is about my car, which I love. So, yeah, I just didn't want to forget to mention that I am in here too with these lovely ladies. Lucia, what's the most important thing you want us to know about that awakening, about the perception, the embodied consciousness? Give us the golden nugget.
The lost language that most people forgot is nonverbal transmissions through our subtle senses. It's a primary language of light and information that this temple we live in has the ability to translate. And it's unfortunately, there's been experiences, ancestral, parallel dimension, future dimension belief systems that have interfered, and genetic engineering of this temple that have interfered with this primary language. And so the primary language of the transference of light and information, the next gets sent through the eyes, and then possibly a sound or a voice, and then the body language. So all of a sudden, all this body language reading, and same with the sentient beings we're calling animals, their validators, their body language. And so they become co-facilitators in a lot of my classes around the world. But the bottom line is come back to the forgotten language. It's the language, the purity of the heart. It's the energy that gets transmitted 24/7. And it can be translated through our subtle senses. Six subtle senses. I've heard that the chemists in Egypt say we have 360 different subtle senses. So we're still babies. But anyways, please don't forget your primary language and take the time to clear your temple so you can receive and transmit more clearly this divine language. And it does go on the waves of love.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Whoa, you guys, okay. I'm gonna look at my little doggy differently after listening to Lucia about the beings, right? We love our animals, but there's something deeper there too to explore. It's gonna be fun. Um, okay, Keisha, for you, what's the most important thing you want us to know about when the achievement is rooted in the wounds instead of the wholeness?
That it doesn't have to continue to be your permanent way of existence, that there is an opportunity for you to go deeper, and that whether that's the fear, the guilt, or the shame, that there's an opportunity to dive deeper, right? And the fact that those factors exist doesn't mean that you're somewhat less than, doesn't mean that you have to continue to walk around with a chip on the shoulder, and more importantly, it doesn't mean that you may not have the desire to continue to be successful. It is how you define that. What is it based on? What is your why? Where is that stemming from? And going deeper into the roots. When you think of a tree or a plant, right? It's the roots, right? It defines what that offspring looks like. So when we start looking at our own roots, I think we have a better opportunity to flourish, right, to do better. And we can continue to water it with cleaner water, right? It's just like we look at our bodies as vessels. I'm inviting you to look at your roots, examine it, and to choose the nourishment that is necessary for you to continue to bloom.
Another beautiful visual. You're having me vision trees and roots and all the things and all the nourishment and all of the ways you guys envision that. Yeah. So both of the ladies so far have said um, they've talked about this vessel, and I wanted to
Mhm.
make that extra comment, this sacred vessel of yours. And when I think of clean living, going back to the other question, um, there was a moment I realized that the more I cleaned and cleared her out, the more I was channeling universal energy. This is an exciting moment. And when you begin to feel it, all you want to do is clean live. You just want to make that, and you want
Yes.
to explore it in all of the ways, right? So we've got a book full of the ways. Grace, you are going to close us out today with this. What's the most important thing you want us to know about how you found that freedom after losing your home?
And so just, piggybacking off these two lovely ladies, it's the same thing. It's nature. There's so many things I could say, but nature and silence, I would say those two things together. The day that we were evacuated from our home in Jasper, it was actually Mary Magdalene's feast day, and we were celebrating by the river and drumming. And when we finished, I had my hands like this, and a little tiny moth came and landed on my arm, but turned to me, and it was so precise in its consciousness and what it was telling me basically, that my girlfriend next to me was like, "Whoa, look at that moth." And I was like, "Yeah." And I didn't look it up until later, but it meant positive transformation. So I held on to that little moth who came before the fire to tell me, "Okay, buddy, you're going to be going through some big transformation here, like your card there." And so, but it's going to be positive. It's going to be positive. And then when we did buy one house where I'm standing in right now. And literally, when I walked onto the deck, which was also Mary Magdalene's feast day, a robin fledged. I mean, the second I put my foot onto the deck, a robin fledged from its nest and landed in front of me. And my realtor was like, "Oh my God, like, look at that." And I was like, "That's a sign. That's a sign that nature's telling me you're in the right place and this is all good and trust it all and just keep going." And so there's so many things I'd love to share here, but attuning to nature. And I just want to, just last thing is, well, you talked about sentient beings. So I work with children. I have a plant music maker that hooks up to a keyboard, and the plants themselves start playing the piano, and the children flip because it's like the consciousness of the plant is apparent, like it's really clear that they're alive. And so when they are walking through the forest with us, I'm reminding them, "Hey, remember, this plant is watching you. This tree is observing you." Like, it's real. So they are also those sentient beings, right? So
Hmm.
that would be, yeah, my most simplest wish is that people sit in silence, do it on a regular basis, and it will again help your channel to become clear, and then the messages you get will also be clearer, I think, too. Yeah.
Grace, Keisha, Lucia, thank you. Thanks to all three of you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. You guys, this is more than a book. This is a generous community. So I have everybody here hooked up with their links and their sites. Just drop down into our show notes. Go explore what they're up to. All of these things that they're talking about today. They're there to answer a question. You can reach out for support. You can take that next step. So I hope you do that. And of course, we hope that you grab your copy of this beautiful book. I have the link below for that as well. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, Your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Yeah.